spend 350 million pounds extra a week for our National Health Service. 350 million. And now we know, not only was that figure a lie, a sham, as we all knew at the time, but the NHS now faces cuts, as the reports have shown, over the next coming years. It was a lie. And then, immigration. You know what? We should have a sensible, national, rational conversation about immigration. But that's not what we were offered in that campaign. Portraying foreigners as criminals and murderers and terrorists and rapists. Lying about Turkey joining the European Union, which is not going to happen in the lifetime of anybody in this crowd. That we would be swamped with Turkish criminals. How dare they? And actions have consequences. We know what those consequences are. A rise in racism and xenophobia, people abused on the streets, a surge in hate crimes. So one of the most important things we all have to do now is tell people in this country, whether they're from a different background, a different country, that we will stand against the tide of xenophobia and racism that those politicians stirred up, and we will defeat that racism and xenophobia. We will drive it from our streets. We will drive it from our country, and the xenophobes and the racists will lose like they lost every single time in the past. That's what we all have to do, all of us. Now, friends, and on immigration, look, I'm from Stockport that narrowly voted to remain, but the part of Stockport where I'm from voted to leave. And there are many problems where I grew up, but very few immigrants. There was a lack of affordable housing, a lack of secure jobs, wages stagnating or falling, public services under attack. But it wasn't immigrants like Polish care workers and Indian doctors and Spanish nurses who caused those problems. It's the politicians who didn't build the housing. It's the politicians who didn't defend the jobs. It's the politicians who didn't defend living standards, and it's the politicians who cut out services. They're the ones to blame, not immigrants who keep this country ticking day after day after day. Finally, here's the other attack we have, that we are petulant children throwing our toys out the pram because we didn't get what we wanted. But friends, nothing could be further from the truth. We're told all the time, now Brexit means Brexit. But here's the thing, we don't know what that means, and more worryingly, neither do they. They don't even have the faintest clue, not one, about the future of this country. And it is up to us, however we voted, the millions who voted to remain or leave, we all have a stake in this future. And all of us should be consulted about what our relationship with Europe is in the future. Every single one of us counts. You don't have an election where, in a general election, where one party wins, then the opposition goes, oh, we lost, so we'll just shut up now for the next 5 years. We'll pack up shop, we'll support what they do. That's not what democracy is. Democracy is about freedom of expression. And all of us are exercising the freedom of expression our ancestors fought for at such cost and such sacrifice. So friends, to wrap up, millions voted to leave partly as anger and frustration at a society that is unjust. We didn't like the protest against it, but it still stands that this is an unjust country, brimming with anger and resentment. And it is a country, above all else, that needs one thing and one thing more than anything else: hope. Hope that we can build a different sort of society, a just society, an equal society, a fair society, not a society where we blame immigrants for all the problems, but where we hold the powerful to account. So in the coming months and in the coming years, all of us have that responsibility to go out into our communities, to the people who don't turn up to demonstrations like this, in that proud tradition of our ancestors, like the people who fought for workers' rights, like the people who fought for the rights of women to vote, the people who fought for the welfare state and the National Health Service. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Everything we've ever won in this country, our rights and freedoms, not given to us by the powerful, but fought for by people like you, marching in the streets and making your voice heard. So let's have that determination, let's have that courage, let's have that resilience, and let's build a different country run in the interests of the majority. Thank you.